Hi, my name is Airyus, and as promised, I'm here to talk about my Elder Scrolls Blades primary PvP arena builds, and to go through the main loadouts in full detail. If you don't already know, my playstyle is pretty offensive, and primarily very aggressive. So in the game of paper, scissor, rock, I am definitely a scissor. This is largely due to my fighting style outside of the arena. When I don't have my Daedric or my Dragon Scale armor, I put on a heavyweight gi and train in the art of Kung Fu and Kenpo. I haven't quite mastered the art yet, but I've definitely been training long enough to know that I prefer to take the offensive route. If you've watched The Karate Kid, then perhaps you've also watched Cobra Kai. Sensei Johnny and I definitely see eye to eye on many of these concepts. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Wait, maybe that last one's negotiable, but we definitely see eye to eye on this one. The best defense is more offense. And that is essentially the inspiration for my builds. But before I get into that, shout out of the week goes out to David Blagoev. Thank you for supporting this channel. Now you too have one more subscriber. So I run 3 main builds in Arena. I have 2 other builds as well, but I just don't use them as much. While in the arena, here's what my resource stats look like. Health, 3,285. Magicka, 230. Stamina, 660. For regen, since I'm a warrior, I use stamina, and I get about 48 stamina per second. I would like to get that to 60 by having a mythical hide helmet, but that would require me to PvE for sigils. And I pretty much can't play PvE without falling asleep. So I'm gonna have to settle for this. Primarily though, all 3 of my builds use the same defensive pieces. My health, magicka, and stamina are the same across the board. Here are the pieces that I use. Mythical hide armor of peerless health. Secondaries include resist physical at crit health and spell resistance. Mythical dragon helmet of peerless health. The secondaries include resist elemental damage at crit health and spell resistance. Mythical hide boots of peerless health with only spell resistance secondary. Sad. Now on to the differences between the loadouts. The offensive pieces will differ based on the build, so here's what I have. For my Frost loadout,
Stay frosty.
we main Baradin's Axe with my mythical Dragonplate Shield of Blizzards. 2 of these together, we get to stack frost damage, more effective at freezing ×2, and reduce max magic ×2. For gloves, I have magnificent Dragon Scale Gauntlets of Amplified Frost, with increased physical damage at crit health and increased elemental damage on conditioned targets. What would I prefer? I would love to have a mythical hide piece with Frost primary and PDIR and EDIR secondaries. I've burned through at least 20 different pieces, all my sigils, and pretty much have this lousy trash which I got from a chest many moons ago. And yes, this is still my best piece. Sad. Anyway, the necklace is a gleaming ebony ferrite necklace of renewal. Stamina. Reduced physical damage at crit health and physical damage ignores resistance secondaries. The neck bonuses are +4 to frost, +4 to metal, which does squat for me, and +4 to enchantment synergy. My first ring is a radiant ebony ferrite ring of intensified frost, and I only have the increased physical damage on conditioned targets as the secondary. But the big plus here are these ring bonuses. +5 to piercing strikes, +4 to skull crusher, and +3 for echo weapons, which is garbage for me, but hey, could be good for an echo mage. The second ring is dazzling ebony ferrite ring of intensified frost with only the 16% prolonged condition secondary, but these ring bonuses are pretty nice. +5 to piercing strikes, +5 to thunderstorm, I don't use that, but +4 to guard breaker, very nice. The theory behind this build is to do as much damage as possible while conditioning the opponent as often as possible. Since there's not a cooldown that I'm aware of as far as getting conditioned, this is a good strategy to ensure your opponent is drained of resources or slowed. But if you look at the tooltip for a level 12 piercing strikes, you'll see elemental damage ignores 441 block rating and 55 points of resistance. This will condition pretty much most people. If not, I can hit them with a level 8 Skull Crusher, which ignores 222 block rating and 513 armor rating. And if I have enough stamina, I could drop a level 5 Guard Breaker, which is a stun good for 1.7 seconds if they're blocking. I wouldn't say this is my favorite build, but it's definitely one of my strongest because of the ring bonuses I managed to stack together with the 108 frost damage that comes from this build. For my next build, we'll talk about the Shocker. Starting with my hands, I'll be holding a mythical Dragonbone Mace of Storms, shock damage and frost damage secondaries, as well as a magnificent Dragonplate Shield of Storms with shock damage and reduced stamina secondaries. For gloves, I have Flawless Dragonscale Gauntlets of Enhanced Shock with increased physical damage on conditioned targets, and EDIR secondary. For a necklace, I use Gleaming Ebony Ferrite Necklace of Avenging Frost. It has no secondaries, but here are the necklace bonuses. +4 enchantment synergy, +4 matching set, +4 augmented shocks. So even though it does not have any secondaries, I think it pairs well with my mace, since it has the frost damage boost. So if you decide to go frost against this build, you may be in for a little surprise. Once I get a frost necklace with enchantment synergy +5 on it, I'll probably try this build with Warlock Ring to see if the retaliating damage stacks. I'll let you know how that goes in a future video. The first ring I have is a Radiant Ebony Ferrite Ring of Intensified Shock. It has PDIR and increased main enchantment by 15%, plus these ring bonuses. +5 Piercing Strikes, +4 Venom Strikes, and +4 Adrenaline Dodge. I don't use that at all, but hey, it could work. Second ring is a Gleaming Ebony Ferrite Ring of Intensified Shock. It has EDIR and increased elemental damage on conditioned targets. Bonuses are +4 Poison Cloud, +3 Magic Surge, +4 Adrenaline Dodge. I use none of those. Unfortunately, this is the only ring I have that has EDIR on it. I figured I should have at least one piece with the EDIR bonus. This is mainly what I will use if my opponent goes frost against me or if I'm fighting a mage. I'll use Piercing Strikes level 7, which gives my elemental damage 335 piercing against block and 40 points to ignore resist. Venom Strikes level 5 gives me 24% more effective poisons, and of course a level 4 Skull Crusher for 154 points to ignore block and 390 points to ignore armor. So this build pretty much has strong hits and a drain built in. I would trade up to have more focused skill damage like I do with the Stay Frosty build, but I'm still working on finding good lightning damage rings to do this with. And finally, my favorite build, which stands for Suck It, Serpent Strike. In my hands, I get to hold this baby, Mythical Dragonbone Longsword of the Cobra, with poison damage and increased main enchantment secondaries. For the shield, I have my most prized possession, not because it's super powerful, but because it's super unique. Back before they removed the Convert Physical to Elemental secondaries, I managed to get my hands on this, Mythical Daedric Shield of Exhaustion, with Reduce Max Magicka and Convert 42 physical damage to poison secondaries. My necklace is a Radiant Ebony Ferrite Necklace of Stamina Renewal with EDIR and increased physical damage at crit health secondaries. The bonuses are +5 to Augmented Flames, not used here, +4 Enchantment Synergy, and +4 Augmented Poison. For skills, I have Piercing Strikes 11, Skull Crusher 4, and Power Attack 6. Unfortunately, the only poison rings I have are these garbage ones which have no secondaries. But here are their bonuses. +4 to Echo Weapon, +5 to Adrenaline Dodge, and +4 to Piercing Strikes, which is pretty much the only reason I have that ring. For the other one, I have +5 to Piercing Strikes, +4 to Poison Cloud, and +5 to Power Attack. With all that stacked together, on top of 168 poison damage total, I can do some serious damage with this setup. Once I get better rings, I'll probably open with this setup much more often than I do with Frost. In a nutshell, I have 3 builds: Stay Frosty, the Shocker, and Triple S. I use health as my way of staying alive since I'm using Dragon Scale. I regen stamina with my necklace and body pieces, which gives me 48 stam regen per second. I start off with 660 stamina in my pool, so I can use my high-cost skills, even if I get drained. I'm still toying around with the magic setup. It's primarily used for defense. All the skills are at level 1 because I only have 230 magicka to work with. I wanted to keep this as low as possible to min-max my stamina setup while still bringing some functionality to the table. While it won't allow me to tank a lot of damage, it will save me a little bit during an opponent's burst. And hopefully, I'll still have enough resources to follow up with a burst of my own. So depending on what's available, I'll switch between Resist Elements 1 and Ward 1. The main strategy for offense is to open with as much damage as possible and finish the opponent off early, while keeping myself alive with Resist Elements and Ward. And that's pretty much it. Now you know all the details of my Cobra Kai inspired builds. And just like me, in the martial arts I practice, these builds are not yet perfected. If I could choose, I would have all divine mythical hide pieces for the body, including gauntlets, stacking spell resist, and 15% enchantment bonuses for the secondaries. Then, I would have PDIR and EDIR for everything else. Of course, we can't have everything just handed to us, so we do have to put in a little bit of a grind. Okay, that's a lie. The grind is a lot of bit. I mean, a whole lot of bit. But that's okay. I love theory crafting and coming up with new builds, and especially experimenting with things nobody uses. It's part of what makes this game interesting for me. So I hope this helped. Definitely not the best builds out there, but it should hopefully provide you with some inspiration for your next build. Thank you for watching. My name is Airyus, and I play games. Cheers!